Hello and welcome to Edupedia World. So hello and welcome back to chapter 4, where we are doing materials, lighting, camera setups and render setups, and in the end studio setups. In the last video we went through how to set up all these materials. So we added the yellow material, the stickers, the metal, everything, and it all looks very nice. So now we want to set up lighting, and a thing to note is that this object looked nice even without any lighting, and that's pretty rare, because lighting is basically what creates your model and or your image. And if something looks great without lighting, that's very promising. So let's just stop talking and get to work. So lighting. All your lights, unless you're using plugins or anything else, will be found in this lights menu. So you click and hold and you can see a few different lights. The target light and the spotlight, they are basically the same kind of light, but they work in a little bit different way. You can see we've got this single light bulb. It's basically just one point that's emitting light. We've got an area light. I really like area lights. Then we've got an infinite light and the sunlight. Let's just start by adding a normal light like this. So when I add a light, you'll see that the model starts to get shaded, and it starts acting as if this light bulb is lighting upon it. So if we were to, as you can see, this is a point light, as it's called. That's just because it's emitting from this infinitely small little point. It's basically just, it's emitting from a point. It has no size to it, and well, that has both good and bad things to it. With our light selected, let's go down to the properties panel and take a look at what kind of settings we have got to work with. So there are a lot. Let's start with the general tab. You can see you can change the color, so you can make it red. You can basically change the color of your light. I'll just leave it at white just for now. You're able to change the intensity, so that's very nice to be able to do that. You are able to change the type. As you can see, if you change this, it's basically the same as choosing another light up here. So we're basically using the Omni light right now, but there are some other options, as you can see. You can choose to add a shadow or not. You can choose to make the light visible or not, and you can choose to do no illumination. That's basically like turning it off, ambient illumination, all that kind of stuff. These are some pretty some of these are very advanced. I won't go through them that much in detail right now. So go into details. You can change the contrast for this exact light. You can change the fall off. The fall off basically means how far this light shines. So right now it's basically infinite. It just shines all over the place. But if you change this fall off, you can like any realistic light, it doesn't just light up everything forever. So this can you can change this right here. The visibility, once again, fall off, a bit of stuff. I won't go through this. Here's a tab just for the shadow. Some photometric stuff. You can, if you enable this, you're able to change the intensity in something like lumen, if you're interested. Basically, it's very nice if you're doing like very accurate CG, where you have to recreate a real life light source or something. Caustics, we'll go into that. Noise lens, project, all that stuff. The first things and the most powerful things to change on a light is the shadow type, some of the visible light options and also the type. So let's just, also the color and the intensity. You can do a lot with just these settings. So let's just try and render Ctrl+R with these settings. And as you can see, we start to get a bit more shaded look to the object. As you can see, since our object has a bit of curves to it, it's catching some highlights, and in my opinion it looks very nice. This almost looks too good. I actually think this looks very nice, but we can make it much better, I am so sure. So you can see this is just one light, lighting from above, and it's just a omni light. If we were to maybe change the type from omni to something like a spotlight, you will see the light actually changing its look. So we can go into the object settings here, and we are able to change some stuff on the fly. So this basically, as it is right now, this doesn't do anything. By making it longer, it just makes it easier to work with. But by rotating this light, press R, you can change what direction it's shining light. So you can see if I turn it down, it's actually shining on our object. By dragging in these little dots, I can change how wide it is, and that will make it illuminate the whole object. So let's just try make it illuminate just like the top part, like this, and then render once again from this kind of angle here from behind, where the light is like really coming from behind, just seeing how it looks. And this is also very important when you're doing these kinds of designs, looking from your object from all different sides, doing a lot of different renders, just really like getting to know your object, how it acts to lighting, because it may look very good from one angle, but if you get to another angle, it may be way too it may be reflecting everything way too much. So I think it's time that we add some shadows. So this light looks pretty cool as it's shining from this direction. And we can now add a shadow. So the type, I already ran through these types: the shadow map soft, the ray traced, and the area. The area is the go-to shadow for me because I just think it's much nicer. I will go into the shadow tab and actually just decrease the density to something like 75, and in my opinion it just makes it look a lot nicer. I will render once again. Shadows, they don't take that long for the computer to process. You can see here on the light icon, it has got a little shadow underneath the light right now. It doesn't have that didn't have that before, and that just shows that this light is emitting shadows. Okay. Let's try to now create a render setup. So I will add a area light, scale it up a bit, and rotate it in a way that it's shining directly down at our model. So we have got a light from above. I will go into the general tab and just increase the intensity something like 125%. Then I will press E and hold Control and then drag. This will duplicate the light. Let go, and I will rotate it like this, and then I will basically decrease the intensity by quite a lot. we go. Maybe change the angle, move it a bit behind, duplicate it once again, make it point at the object. And if you want these to exactly look at this object, you can actually add a tag. So go and right click, Cinema 4D tags, and then you can add a target. So that basically means that this thing will look at this thing. So if I go into the target, I can basically take my hyperNURBS, drag it into the target object, and that basically means maybe I don't want the hyperNURBS. I can just create a null, as I just did, move it up a bit, because this is where I want my lights to shine. So this will just be named target. I can go into this, add the target as the target, and by control clicking I can add this target thing to every of these lights. So wherever I move these lights, they will always be pointing towards my robot arm, my robotic arm. I'll maybe add a bit more shininess or intensity to this backlight. I'll take the top light, as you can see right here, I've selected it, and add an area shadow to that light. And let's try to make a quick render. Ctrl+R. So this way of using multiple lights, as I used 3 lights right here, you're going to get some it's going to be some more interesting light to look at, and it's not going to be as plain as other lighting can be if you're just using 1. So using 3 can make a big difference in your render setup. Something that I've noticed right now is that when I added these materials, I actually forgot to change the projection mode. So I'll just go in and check all the yellow materials and make sure that they are set to cubic. So I know that I added a few, and I also know that I forgot to change the mapping. So right now they are all set up as they should be, and let's try to render once again. So as you can see from this render, because of the way the light is bouncing, the whole side right here is being like, it's like one large reflection, and that's actually not what I am interested in. That means I will go back to my base color and I will start changing the settings around in order to try and eliminate this effect. So let's see what's making it. It looks like it's a specular, and just dim it down just a bit. Let's look at it from other sides. It looks quite alright. Let's try and do a render from here and see what we have got to work with. So depending on how strong your CPU is, this may take from a few seconds to maybe 1 or 2 minutes. I've got a Core i7 about 4.5 gigahertz processor, so it's not that slow. This is basically it for how you can set up a basic light system. You can see we used 3 area lights. We also tried using just a point light and a spotlight. We can do one last thing is to delete those lights and instead just add a sunlight. And the sunlight will basically look at the time of your computer and it will also take note of the time of the year, and then it will recreate the sun. So if we just were to render this, you will see a render of what this would look like if it was put inside or outside your garden right now, like with the direction of the sun. So that's just a bit of fun you can do, rendering stuff with the light from the sun. And this is very useful if you're doing like large cities, but with just like small simple buildings. Then you can use just this to illuminate everything, and it looks very nice. So that's about it for this tutorial on lighting, and we will move on to adding cameras and rendering this. So see you there. Thank you for watching Edupedia World. Stay tuned for more videos.